Hey guys, Snark here. I haven't been able to work on Dofus for the past couple weeks, so I'm all the more excited to bring you this Eliotrope breakdown video. The Eliotropes are a new class coming to Dofus and Wagfu on December 9th, and they're pretty much what they sound like, Eliotropes. For those of you who don't know their backstory, the Eliotropes are mirror or shadow images that were created when Yugo, the young Eliotrope from the Wagfu animation, was in a desperate situation and called upon the power of the 6 primordial Dofuses. In this instant, he became the equal to a god in power, hence why they refer to him as King God or God King. He is the king or leader of the Eliotropes and the creator of the Eliotropes. In this video, I'll be going over their roles in a fight, I'll explain the portal system that is unique to them, and then I'll go over their spells one by one. I may even add some tips and tricks at the end, I'm not quite sure yet. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy. Let's start with the portal system itself. The Eliotrope class revolves around using the magic and portals inherited from Yugo. Their portals... What is this? Oh god. Their portals allow allies, enemies, and spells to travel throughout the map in creative and exciting ways. And don't worry if you don't understand everything about the spells that I may mention or use. I'll get into those specifically later, after this part. Now, when a portal is first placed on a map, it's in an inactive or neutral state, and looks like this. It's all darkened. But when a second portal is placed on the map, both become active and allow you to travel between them. Like so. But at any distance, really. It becomes a whole lot more complicated. Well, it becomes a bit more complicated when a third and a fourth portal are on the map. A portal always connects to the closest portal to it, and keeps on connecting portals until it can't anymore. So, oh, and in the case that two portals are equidistant from each other, like say these two portals are equidistant to this portal, the one that's closest in clockwise order is the one that it's connected to. So that's why it connects to this one first. And in any case, you can always see how portals are connected just by mousing over one. If you mouse over one portal, the exit portal grows and glows in size. Glows in size? Grows in size and glows. Jeez. When an ally or enemy walks through one portal and comes out another, like I just did, the entrance portal, which was this one, and the exit portal become inactive. You can still walk on them though. They stay inactive until the end of that character's turn. So that means that whoever goes next, whether it be an AI, summon, monster, or another player, will be able to use the portals too. Okay. Now, as I said a moment ago, spells can also pass through portals. And if you were hoping for some like Portal the game style portals and spell thinking, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's a really close approximation, however, and still really fun to use. Using spells through portals is all about conserving the original cast vector. So let me move here. What does that mean? That means that when you cast a spell, like say this one, onto a portal, let's say this one. Actually, let me wait for the PB. Okay, there we go. So when you cast a spell into a portal, it will come out the exit portal in the same direction and go the same distance as you cast it. So I casted it in this direction, 3 tiles away, came out this portal, 3 tiles away and in that direction. It's not without any limits, of course. If a spell requires you to have line of sight, and the exit portal, which in this case would be this one, doesn't have line of sight to the target. So let's say I cast the spell from here, and it comes out over here. If there's something blocking the line of sight right around here, then you can't cast it, even if you may have line of sight to it. The exit portal as well needs that line of sight. Just like when you move through a portal, you can always see where this spell will come out just by mousing over it. This is especially helpful for spells that have an area effect, like this one. Let's move on to the core Eliotrope spells. These are spells you should be using, or you'll find yourself using, no matter what your build is. A couple things to take note of is that spell icons might change, since this is beta after all, and that I won't be listing them in the order that you obtain them. Instead, I'm kind of putting them in order of importance, though that is just my opinion after all. Also, none of the spells have been translated into English as of right now, but I'll be giving them my own, translation. First up is the portal spell itself, Portal. Portal can be cast twice per turn at up to 4 range and only costs 1 AP. There, and there we go. That was only 2 AP for one portal system. Now, leveling the spell doesn't actually give you any extra range on it, which is unfortunate because it's not boostable, but it does give the portals an extra damage bonus. Now, what I mean is that whenever a spell passes through a portal, like this one, it gains a damage bonus, which depends on how many portals the spell passes through, as well as the complexity or the total distance traveled. Now, the exact way this works isn't known, but you can multiply your damage up to 3 times if you have enough portals. All that sounds really cool, but I don't actually recommend leveling the spell until much later on, or at least past level 100 or so, because just because there's so many more useful spells, and having a bit more damage isn't as useful in my opinion as having more range or more versatility in fights. Next up is Neutralization. At level 6 it has 8 range and can be cast twice per turn. It only costs 1 AP. It's something like the opposite of Portal. By selecting a portal, you can deactivate it for an entire round. Unlike normal deactivation, where it's only for the remainder of a turn, a neutralized portal stays deactivated until your next turn. I highly recommend leveling the spell maybe by level 30 or so, maxing it as soon as possible, because at level 2, or at level 1 rather, it only has 2 range. This is a vital spell that you can use to stop enemies using your portals to approach you, or to make sure your attacks go through a correct portal. Remember that you can't remove portals from a map, and you can't move them around. So the only way to control your portals effectively is by either summoning new ones, or by neutralizing them. Like this. Super is a fun spell that can be cast every 2 turns and at 8 range. It's a trap that creates a portal when stepped on. It's a pretty versatile spell, and you can use it to both kidnap enemies or rescue allies. Remember though that this does create a portal, and that means that if you already have 4 portals out, it will replace the first portal that you placed. Stretching is an ally buff, which can be used every 3 turns and up to 7 range when leveled. It gives the target 3 range and gives the caster 3 range to the portal spell, which normally is not boostable. In exchange, however, it takes 15% of the caster's HP at level 6 and about 28% of the caster's HP at level 1. So it's important to level this one. Teamwork is a spell which can be cast every 3 turns on the caster. Whenever an enemy passes through a portal during that turn, the caster will gain 1 AP. And whenever an ally passes through a portal during that turn, the caster will heal around itself. All you need to do is cast it on yourself. And now let's watch the PB go through. Yui, come on. There we go, 1 AP. Scarring is this class's only direct healing spell. It costs 4 AP and can be used only once per turn. It has a 2C area of effect at all levels, and at level 6 it gains a second range. Like so. It heals 10% HP at levels 5 and 6, and only 6% HP at level 1, so I definitely recommend leveling this. It might have short range, but remember this spell can go through portals to cover even more distance. Also, as you might have just seen, this spell heals your enemies too, so be careful when using it. Odyssey is a movement spell that only costs 2 AP. At level 6, it can be used once per turn and moves both the target and the caster backwards. It has only one range, but it has many uses. You can use it, for instance, as I just did, to get out of a sticky situation. You can use it to rescue allies. You can use it to bring your enemies closer. I recommend leveling this pretty early too, because at level 1 it only has a cooldown of 6, which is pretty long to wait. Distribution is an effect which can be given to both enemies and allies every 3 turns. At level 1 it has 2 range, and at level 6 it has 7 range. For the next round, whenever that target takes damage, they reflect it to those around them. However, if the target is in the portal state, they instead reflect damage to all those within 2 cells of them, and the amount of damage they reflect is even greater. Unfortunately, it's 1 to 2 range and 1 to 6 to 7 range, meaning that the Eliotrope cannot cast a spell on itself. Focus is the Eliotrope's class spell, so it must first be obtained in a class temple. It's a buff that costs 2 AP, has 6 range, and a 2-turn cooldown. Unlike most of the other spells, it is actually boostable. For the next round, whenever the target goes through a portal and enters the portal state, they will gain 180% damage, but lose 70 dodge. This effect stacks up to twice. It can be used on both allies and enemies, and most importantly, it can be used on the Eliotrope itself. So it's a great self buff. At level 200, Eliotropes can learn to summon their class Doppel. This Doppel uses mid-range attacks that deal fire, water, or air damage. Additionally, if their target has passed through a portal and is in the portal state, they can either remove MP or push their target back by quite a bit. Alright, now that we've gone over the core Eliotrope spells, let's take a look at their attacks. All 12 of them. Eliotropes can attack with all 4 elements at close or mid-range, not counting their portals of course, but more importantly, they have 3 kinds of attacks. I believe that hybridizing and playing different roles is a more interesting way to play this class rather than going with a single element or build, so rather than divide the spells by element, I'll divide them by type of spell and explain them that way. First are the normal spells. These spells work the same way no matter the circumstances. You can expect these spells to deal around 200 damage or so at mid-level, though that depends on your stats of course. At level 3 you get Commotion, a 3 AP Earth spell. It has 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 range if you level it, and you can use it twice per turn. It has a sort of cross or ring area of effect, where you select the center, but the center isn't actually affected. It pulls those targets hit towards the center, though obviously if there's more than one target, only one will be pulled. This helps the Eliotrope fill the role of map manipulator. At level 13 you got Offense, a fire attack, which costs 4 AP. It has 1 to 6 range and is boostable, can be used twice per target and 3 times per turn. It's a solid, normal attack, nothing amazing. At level 36 you get Bullying, a 3 AP, 2 to 3 or 2 to 6 range if you level it, air attack. It can be used twice per turn. It has the same odd area effect as Commotion does, a cross or ring without the center. All those affected are pushed by 2 tiles, and this spell is linear only. At level 70, the Eliotrope gets Exodus, a water attack which costs 4 AP. It has 1 to 6 range and is boostable, but only linear. It pulls the caster 3 tiles closer, but also removes 2 MP from the caster. However, you don't actually need MP to cast the spell, so you can go into negative MP if you want to. However, if the target is killed with this attack, the caster is not moved. Next up are the healing attacks. These are elemental attacks that heal allies, but only if the ally is in the portal state. This requirement can make it difficult to heal effectively and keeps the Eliotrope's roles as healer a minor one in my opinion. Otherwise, these are low AP, low damage attacks. At level 1 you start with Affront, a 3 AP air attack. It can only be used in melee range twice a turn. It has a staff or Sakura's foot area of effect and heals allies by 12 to 13% of their HP. This is actually their strongest healing spell and has a decent base damage compared to the other healing spells. At level 1 you also have Affliction, a 3 AP water attack. It is 1 to 7 range and is boostable. It can be used twice per target and 3 times per turn, and heals allies at the start of their turns for 2 turns by 8 to 9% of their HP. It's essentially like Regenerating Word. At level 6 there's Wakfu Ray, a fire attack that costs 3 AP. It has 2 to 5 range and can be used twice per turn. It has a 3-line area effect similar to Pan Attack, and heals allies by 8 to 10% of their maximum HP. Finally, at level 21 there's Therapy, a 2 AP Earth attack. It has 1 to 3 or 1 to 8 range if you level it, and it's boostable. It can be used twice per target, 3 times per turn. It heals allies by only 5 to 6% of their HP, but remember it's 2 AP. It's essentially a boostable Earth Damage Leak Pie that can also heal. Remember that all these spells require the portal state to actually do anything, so they're best used on a character that is tanking. We've saved the best for last because the 4 remaining attacks all have additional effects on enemies with the portal state. These attacks are all higher level spells and generally deal greater damage. First up is Lightning Punch at level 48. It's a 3 AP linear water attack with 1 to 3 range. You can use it twice per target and 3 times per turn. It has about 30 base damage, which is pretty decent for a 3 AP. But if the enemy is in the portal state, this attack pushes them back. 2 tiles at level 1, 3 tiles at level 4, and 4 tiles at level 6. That's 4 pushback for 3 AP. Note that this also works on allies. Next we have Injurious Insult at level 60. It's a 4 AP Earth attack with 1 to 4 range. You can use it twice per target and 3 times per turn. With about 31 base damage, it's not amazing, but when the target is in the portal state, it unbewitches 1 turn from their effects, potentially 2 turns for 8 AP, while doing damage. After that is Parasite at level 80. It's a 5 AP fire attack with 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 range if you level it. You can use it twice per target and 3 times per turn. About 30 base for 5 AP is low. However, if the target is in the portal state, it can hit twice as hard. At the end of the target's turn, they will take additional fire damage if they pass through a portal, or in their portal state. However, this only stacks once. Their final and highest level attack is Mockery at level 90. It's a 4 AP air attack with 1 to 6 range at all levels. It can be used twice per target and 3 times per turn. It has 34 base damage, which is respectable, but when the target is in the portal state, it also removes MP. Minus 2 MP at level 1, minus 3 MP at level 5, and minus 4 MP at level 6. This effect only stacks once, but since it's dodgeable, you can use it again to try and remove more. I hope this spell breakdown helped you understand this brand new class. Before I go, I'll leave you with a handful of tips so you know what to expect when they come out. Send portals through portals. Just like every other spell, Portal can also be cast through a portal in order to get much more range. This also works with Stupor, the trap portal. Melee spells work with portals too, and Iop's Wrath is not an exception. Portals also add final damage bonus, so with the web of portals you can even hit over 9,000 from across the map. Another melee spell, Odyssey, can be used through portals to kidnap an enemy or rescue an ally. Use Stupor defensively by placing it next to you or near you, like right here. When the enemy comes close to you, they'll be teleported away. Now, technically, you are your own ally. Therefore, your healing attacks will heal you, but only if you can manage to pull that off. The easiest way is to stand between two active portals. Remember, you actually need to be in the portal state for this.